Hey, how you doing? This is Mark Taylor. I'm here in beautiful Toronto, Canada, and I'm letting you know you got to tune in every Saturday to the Lion Voice vlog and tap into the Dejazmatch Kwasi ecosystem.
Fresh out of the theater reaction. Just finished watching the Black Panther. Um, I think number one was better. Definitely missed the Black Panther. I'm gonna do a full review on the Lion's Voice, but it was an interesting film. Good performances, but missing some elements. We'll talk about it. Blessings.
Well, Lion Voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion Voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion Voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion Voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion Voice.
Greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of His chosen Queen, Empress Waziri Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka Dejazmatch Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Panafrican Happy Man. I'm an entertainment attorney, I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion Voice. Today, episode 46, we are going to be doing a review of the most recent entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. Before I get into the Wakanda Forever review, we want to get into some housekeeping. First and foremost, we want to give thanks to all of the new subscribers to the channel. Growing slowly but surely, steady growth, every strong to strong. I like to think of it as that every strong I have the weekend to come into a room and address. Right now we're averaging at least 100 people, which is not bad. You know, if you get a chance to get a message to 100 people, it's a beautiful thing. Our Woman King movie review, which has also inspired us to keep going with the Pan-African movie reviews, has done well. We have a few hundred on that review. So we give thanks to everyone who's been tuning in. And I think that we're going to build this channel. And again, I tell people my superpower is the network that I've been able to develop. I'm not a YouTuber that's going out there to build a network. I have a network out there. I'm coming to YouTube. So over the time, I'm going to be exposing the network. So as you help the channel to grow, it just gives me the ability to expose more of the network and to share more of the blessing that the Almighty has been able to give unto I and I in this time of Armageddon. And of course, this is a repatriation channel. This is a Zion on Earth building channel. This is the channel where the lion is telling his own story. This is a channel where we're building our kingdom while stepping out of Babylon jungle. So again, give thanks to everyone. We're gonna get into the Wakanda review. Remember, send your relationship questions to Ask the Lion Voice. Put the email there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel right now over there. Also, before I forget, again, we're building the Patreon. The first subscriber on the Patreon is going to get a signed copy of Haile Selassie's Ethiopia. So the first subscriber on Patreon, bust the seal for us so that we can build a channel, we can support the channel. And build up. Yes, also on Patreon, you know, I took the whole family to the theater, so I asked my children to give their out of theater reaction. So we're gonna have that on the Patreon edition, you know, just to keep the family vibes. And these experiences, because they're so ingrained in the pop culture, it's a good chance to take the children and then talk about all of the different things that you see and use it to talk about Pan-African topics. You know, a lot of time in the Pan-African Rastafari community, we try to shield our children from certain things because we know the agenda, we know what going on. However, they're getting it out there in the pop culture because internet and these things. So it's better expose it with them, you know, to expose them and be with them, and then use it to open up the discussion and the dialogue so that we can help to mold and to help them to see what is there and to inspire them to create their own vision and bring this thing higher. So again, that's going to be coming on Patreon. We're also going to be increasing the output of the channel, more episodes every strong. We have interviews, legal episodes, Ghana, repatriation continent, as you know. The Bansu family is in the process of repatriating to Ghana, West Africa. We have a lot of content recorded. We're going to be touching relationship topics. The front line of the Pan-African movement is the relationship between the black man and the black woman, securing the black family. We're going to be talking about the Rastafari man standard. Also, I want to just big up all of the people who've been tuning into the Emperor Tedros episode. That's one of our most steady watch episodes on the channel. Every week consistently, it's in the highest viewed content on the channel. And that's where I do a breakdown of the life of Emperor Tedros that comes from the book. So we do a history of Emperor Tedros. We're going to be doing one on Emperor Johannes IV next, and we're going to be looking at all of the priestly warrior kings. So whole heap of things happening on the channel, but I know you want to hear about Wakanda Forever. So let's jump into this review. So let's start with the overall view of the film. The overall view of the film is that I think it was an above average comic book movie. I was thoroughly entertained, but let me give the caveat that I grew up reading Marvel comics. I had a small, modest collection, X-Men, different things, so I'm not coming into the subject matter as a blind person. They call them blurred, which is the black nerd. Call me an all-arounder growing up, you know. So I played sports, but I also liked comics, fantasy, read a lot, which is why we are the reading Ras. So I am someone who watches all of the Marvel content, and we're gonna look at it from a Pan-African perspective, because now that I'm an adult and I can use it, I can see some of the agenda. We're gonna talk about it because it was definitely present in this movie, this creeping agenda in Babylon, and we're gonna talk about it. So it was an above average comic book movie. I want to just give major respect to the director Ryan Coogler. He's one of my favorite comic book movie directors, and just directors in general. I like how he approaches the subject matter. I like his thought process. I just love how the brethren is really moving right now in the industry. Overall, also big up respect to Joe Robert Cole, who is a co-writer. Both of them wrote Black Panther 1 and Black Panther 2. So big respect to those black men who, you know, are coming together to try to tell stories that have an impact on the black community. And Black Panther 1, no matter what anybody says, it was one of the most impactful things from a psychological level that has hit the black world, the black diaspora, the whole concept of Wakanda, which I believe was inspired by His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. And we can go into in a future video how Stan Lee would have been inspired, and Jack Kirby would have been inspired by His Imperial Majesty, in particular His Majesty's visit to New York City in 1963, which at the time was the largest ticker tape parade in New York City's history since the Second World War, where His Majesty got out of his vehicle, walked the last little bit to the United Nations. It's a very famous, and that's where he gave the speech, which later was memorialized by Bob Marley in the song War, until the philosophy that holds. And Black Panther, the character, was built in 1966, and The parade was in 1963. So you have the Panther King, you have Haile Selassie, the King of Kings, the Lion King. You have Ethiopia, never been conquered, the independent nation. You have Wakanda, never been conquered, the independent nation. You have Ethiopia that had centuries of isolation, emerging onto the world stage. You had Wakanda, a kingdom in isolation in Africa, emerging on the world stage. So it's very easy to see how Haile Selassie the First and the kingdom of the realm, the ancient realm of Ethiopia, inspired Wakanda. His Majesty was known because he was modernizing Ethiopia, technology. He was bringing technology into Ethiopia. Wakanda becomes a technological civilization. So nobody can tell me that Wakanda wasn't influenced by Ethiopia. However, it's been now translated, come down to the black diaspora through Walt Disney. And with that comes some challenges, and we'll get into some of the flaws. So, again, just big up Ryan Coogler, big up Joe Robert Cole, big up that black people are in the building over there at Walt Disney, trying to work within that system to ensure the integrity of I&I stories. So that was the overview. So let's talk about the performances. There were some excellent performances in this film. Big respect to Angela Bassett. She's been getting a lot of thought that she might be nominated for an Oscar. She's never been nominated for an Oscar or won an Oscar. So this may be the role that does it for her. And we're going to get into spoilers a little later. I'm just giving you the overview. Big up Lupita Nyong'o. Big up Denai Guerrera. Big up Winston Duke. Big up Toyota, the brethren who played Namor. I'm not going to try to say his name because I don't want to butcher the brethren name, but big him up. So the performances were excellent in this film, and again we have to give respect to Ryan Coogler as the director for pulling out these performances. I think they were genuine, heartfelt performances. Also the new actor that played Ironheart, Dominique Thorne, I believe her name is, big her up too. She added a lot of levity and balance to the film. How did I feel about the film? I said it was an above average comic book movie. I said it had excellent performances. Tell you the truth, I'm gonna say I left not satisfied, and I'll get into what I thought some of the flaws were. I was entertained. There was at no time that I wasn't engaged, but in terms of the meal that I had digested, when I kind of meditate on it, I was not fully satisfied. And let's say that it does have some source material that supports it, the comic book. Okay, before I even go there, we gave the overview, we talked about the performances. Let's get into spoiler alert. So we're going to put the sign up, spoiler territory. Now for those, if you have not watched the movie, you don't want to know what happened, stop here, go watch the movie, come forward, and you will hear from this perspective. So let's talk about the movie. What was the film about? So basically the film is about Wakanda after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa character. And let me just say big up Chadwick Boseman. He's a Howard University alumni. Big up all of the HU man them. Another brethren who is definitely within the network. If you look at the scene where they're opening the gates of Wakanda and beating the water drum, that was I brethren, Jabari Aksum, and I definitely will interview him on the channel so we can get the inside. He was also a movement and drum coordinator on the first Black Panther. He was good brethren with Chadwick Boseman. Was on the set during the first Black Panther, and obviously they brought him forward for the second Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman was actually at Howard University when I was there. I didn't know the brother, but like I said, I good brethren, was very close with him. So we'll get that perspective at some point moving forward. But the movie is basically about two indigenous societies at war, and then it ends with them deciding to and then it ends with them deciding to unite for a greater against a greater enemy. So, in terms of the message, Ryan Coogler is definitely the Black and Brown alliance. They move Namor, which in the comics he's the king of Atlantis. Here, they moved him as the king of a Mayan civilization called the Talakan. So he was based around Mexico. There was Spanish in the film that was spoken. That was nice. There was French that was spoken in the film. That was nice. So it was definitely a sweeping kind of epic scope to the film, and the whole fullness of the movie opens with the death of the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. They don't say why, which I never loved that, because such an important character for those who know the comic, and I have read the comic. Christopher Priest run, big up him as a black comic book writer. We have read the comic, and so just to kind of kill him off screen, no explanation what killed the Black Panther. The man will have the heart-shaped herb, superpower, super healing, all of these things. But they did that very quickly, and then in the movie, Shuri ends up becoming the Black Panther. So Black Panther's little sister, which there is precedent in the comic. I had a little bit of issue on how it was carried out. I don't know if it was on the cutting room floor, but T'Challa, the character, trained his whole life for the mantle of Black Panther. Shuri was a scientist, and then she becomes the Black Panther, and takes the hardship herb that she creates, and then all of a sudden she beat up Namor, all kind of things, and is an expert warrior. That, give me a montage, give me something, you know what I mean? So I think it was either lazy writing on the part of Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Kohler, or sometimes in movies, because the movie was almost 3 hours, it might have hit the cutting room floor, so it might not have made the final edit. They may have said, let's just do it. I think that's something they should have spent some time on. And that was part of what left me not fully satisfied. And I look at this as a Empire Strikes Back type of movie, meaning it's the second installment in in the series. Empire Strikes Back, for those who know Star Wars, ends on a low note in the battle. So it's basically the middle act where the enemy triumphs for a time, and then Return of the Jedi, there's victory. So right now Wakanda is without a king that is the Black Panther. That's how the movie ends. The Winston Duke character, who in the comic is actually a villain, they've kind of made him a hero in the Marvel universe. So we don't know if they're gonna follow the comic and he's gonna turn, but he's now running Wakanda, and then Shuri is the Black Panther. So from that perspective, in terms of story, as someone who's familiar with the comic, those kind of details left me a little bit unsatisfied. But let's talk about the good things about the film. So again, the good things were the performances. I did like Namor. I did like the Talokan people, the siren song, how they would sing the siren song and get people to walk to their death. I thought that was a good use of mythology, how they built out the world of Talakan. I thought was interesting how they use water, the water current highways to get down into their society, how Namor looked under the water. I loved all of that. The Dora Milaje, we always love Wakanda, how it looks, how the Dora Milaje fight. We love the action. There was a beautiful action scene with Okoye and the Atuma, who is also a big character from the comic, on the bridge. That fight was excellent. Fight choreography, high stakes. We love that. Didn't love the final fight with Shuri and Namor as much, because there were some logical flaws that were there that they had to do to be able to allow Shuri to win that fight. And that again, in terms of the writing and what they had to do, left the feeling of unsatisfaction when you really meditate on the story. Angela Bassett, boy, she great acting, and again, I think she should win an Oscar for supporting actress. Powerful, what she did at the UN, exposing French, and I want to big up. This is why black writers are important, because he exposed French, and the people who know France is one of the worst colonial powers. So having the French ambassador of the UN be exposed as a colonialist trying to rob Wakanda was very intentional. Having Haiti in the movie as one of the things, the treatment of Haiti was one of the great things in this film. Of course, the Wakandan who was trying to get away, she would go to Haiti because, and that was Lupita Nyong'o's character, because Haiti is that free black nation. So of course the Wakandans would identify with them, and having her go there was also something that brought joy to my heart. And again, you're only going to get those type of connections when you have black writers in the building. So I like that. I like the serious tone of the film. A lot of the Marvel has been getting a little bit goofy. So I like that Ryan brought it forward into a grounded tone. That was good. So there were good things in this film, and again, that's because Ryan Coogler, as a filmmaker, I think he tries to do things with as much integrity as he can. But he's in a studio system, and there are wider mandates that he has to fulfill. Little things we see creeping in to the film that, of course, we know are part of the larger agenda. And until we own our own studio, until we are able to tell our own stories, because it's still a story that was originated by two white writers, or white writer Stan Lee, white illustrator Jack Kirby is the one who came up with Black Panther and Wakanda. Other writers have added certain things as the time has gone on. So big up those black writers. But until we are able to tell our own stories, then we have to work within these confines, and this is why we look at these things from a Pan-African lens. So again, we love the performances, we love the action, we love the tone of the film, and we love the treatment of Haiti. What were some of the flaws? This is where the film is getting beat up online. The lack of black male characters, strong black male characters, kill off the T'Challa. There's a movement to recast T'Challa. I'm in that movement because, yes, our good brother Chadwick Boseman passed, and I understand the rationale that they couldn't make the film. It was so dear to them. They couldn't visualize somebody else in that role, so that their personal journey impacted them, which we have to give grace for that because it's a reality. However, the character of T'Challa in the Marvel Universe is very important and is needed. So that absence was definitely felt in this film. The strong black man character. Some might say this is a reflection of what's happening in real life, where the black woman is really carrying the nation and the black man is not in his rightful place, or is playing a supportive role. Well, we know that Rastafari man standard, the man is the head and has to rise and will rise. So again, we're hoping that Black Panther 3 is the return of T'Challa, whether it be from an alternate timeline, alternate multiverse or character. There's ways they can bring him forward into the story, and we pray that it's done. We'll talk about the end credit scene where they introduce his son a little bit later. However, it's going to be difficult to age up the son, so we need to bring in another T'Challa from somewhere. The lack of development of Shuri as a warrior, again, that was to me a flaw. If you're going to make her the Black Panther, give her a montage, give her some music, give her a nice little soundtrack, make her do 2 push-up, bring in a Jegna, someone who can give her 2 training, you do some kick, or even just give her a line where I trained right beside my brother growing up, I have all of the knowledge. In this universe, she has not been developed as a fighter. Yes, she took the herb, she gets strong, boom, boof, you're gonna be strong. That does not mean you can fight. So develop, her as a warrior if you're gonna go that route. Um, the dumbing down of Namor in the last fight, the plan was to get him dehydrated, so they have him in the plane. He's being dehydrated. The man sit down, wait for a while before he decides to rip open the plane with his staff or whatever him use. And then the beach fight, they're fighting 20 meters away from water. They establish this man can fly at high speed, but yet the man don't go recharge himself in the water for the fight. And there's one point in the fight where she can't find him. He's flying up overhead and comes down and punches her. The man should have just gone out of the water, get him strength, and you know what I mean. But of course we know it's a movie. You gotta write it, but how he was established as an ancient mutant with so much knowledge, a king wise. It's just hard to believe that he was defeated in the manner he was defeated, and definitely what they would call plot armor was put on Shuri in that fight, so that kind of took Ayman out of the film a little bit. The underwater scenes was another thing. The Talakan people looked like they were underwater, treading water, and I think they actually probably filmed in an underwater soundstage. I think in Aquaman, the DC movie, they filmed it and then they CGI'd in the water so the people didn't have to actually hold their breath, and probably did some wire work. So the effects department, whoever have to sort that out. But it looked like at times there were actors under the water, and not people who have evolved to be under the water. The lack of Winston Duke, my brethren from Trinidad. I don't know him personally, but I would love the character that he's been able to do, the king of the Jabari tribe. And the man, again, in the comic, he's a villain, one of the villains of Black Panther in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's an ally, and a strong ally. So would I love to see him get more little shine. He got more role in this film, but because he didn't have a strong Wakandan male representing, it would have been good to have that balance. This was a very female-centric film, which we give thanks for that. However, again, with the Black Panther, I know this is a story about this black male king, and therefore would have loved to see that balance represented. Also, of course, we had the Babylon agenda. Won't go too deep into it. It was a little quick, little flash, but we know the agenda that they're pushing on black people, population control agenda, pushing a minority agenda on a population that is fairly united in the diaspora in terms of how we look at the world and male-female relation. But we'll leave it there. And we know that in the comic, there's been black writers that have introduced these things. However, again, this is why if we have black-owned companies, our filtration system is going to be a little bit different in terms of what we're presenting. And we're not saying these things don't exist, but in terms of what we present to the family, right now we do not dictate what that is, because we're working within the Walt Disney system. And I'm pretty sure that there was a mandate to include certain things within this film. So those were, from a Pan-African perspective, those were some of the flaws of. All right, so let's talk about the end credit scene, where it's revealed Lupita Nyong'o's character Nakia had a son with the Black Panther, and they introduced Black Panther, small T'Challa. That was a nice scene, touching scene. Even probably will be a part of the Young Avengers. I don't know if they're going to use him to age up to become the T'Challa and the new Black Panther. I think that's probably what they were thinking. I think from some of the reaction online, because a lot of black males are not going to see the film. They're upset about how they killed, one of the main black male characters in the Marvel universe so quickly, based on a real life death. And of course, General Ross, who was also a character, just the actor that played him died, William Hurt, and he was recast very quickly with Harrison Ford. So people are complaining how them just get rid of the black character again. Recast T'Challa is a movement. It was trending on Twitter after the film. So I think Marvel will have a decision to make, and it's likely that they may listen and actually recast T'Challa. So let me just quickly give my hopes for Black Panther 2. Again, recast T'Challa. More time in the streets of Wakanda. I think Ryan Coogler, Joe Robert Cole have an opportunity to inspire our STEM youths that are watching these films in terms of technologies, how Wakandan society is orchestrated, because this is the power of film. Wakanda got a lot of people to view Africa as cool in the popular culture. That and Afrobeats, I think, have done more than many of us could have imagined in terms of pop culture in the Pan-African community. However, I think they definitely have an opportunity to show us that alternative to Babylon with Wakanda, and use Walt Disney's budget to plan out this utopian society and to show the people. So hopefully Black Panther 3, they do that. They're having a Wakanda Forever series on Disney Plus, so hopefully they also do that there. And then we also want to see Black Panther versus Doctor Doom, one of the biggest Marvel villains. That's a big thing from the comic, so hopefully they go in that direction for Black Panther 3, and just really continue to elevate the Black Panther mythos. Also big up Michael B. Jordan, who made a cameo appearance as Killmonger with him, Lux and thing in the film. We love that character and how the work that Michael B. Jordan did, bringing it to life. Not quite the same as the comic book, but definitely a brilliant adaptation. So these are the thoughts. Overall, Black Panther 2, it's worth seeing in the theater on the big screen, supporting these black creators, even though we know they're in the box of the bigger, but hopefully again we inspire the next generation to tell our own stories, to build our own studios. We want the Black Walt Disney. I'm going to do my part to build a multimedia platform. Lion Voice is just the beginning. So help us grow. Again, subscribe to the channel so that we can build the alternative. Because as you know, the time has come for the lions to tell their own story. And this is the Lion Voice.
Lion Voice. Yeah, I'm a Gideon. Cataclysmic forces, good over evil. Yeah, for the ghetto youth, worldwide. I see the youths nowadays, they growing up. Wanna know the truth, they wanna know what's up. They got no fear now, they'll call you bluff. They asking questions cause they had enough. Why? Some gone astray cause times is tough. Some walk with the machine, ready to bust. I'ma give you when things get dangerous. No, in the ghetto things get dangerous. On the battlefield things get dangerous. Them carry RPG, M16. Got a problem to wipe out your whole team. For American dream, them get scandalous. Them put us into the ghetto, try abandon us. Cause we the remnant of the first sons of Kush. Warrior tribes, we not the ones to push. Just look into them history, see we rebellious. That's cause them systems so unjust. Take the shackles and chains, change them to handcuffs. Release your physical frame, them want your brain. Them a vampire looking for blood to drain. Haile, Selassie come and break every chain. Bob Marley, tell them, now we tell them again, yo. We tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, or this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, but this a time for African people to rise.